Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Keep the faith.
This is going to be a disaster.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
And to the people of Wisconsin, thank you. Thank you for trusting me to serve you on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. This campaign has been an incredible, life-altering experience in so many ways. And I'm so grateful to have earned the trust and support of voters across this great state. And I'm here tonight because I've spent my life fighting to do what's right. That's why I got into this race, to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of all Wisconsinites. Yes. Growing up in Chippewa Falls, I was blessed with a loving family. Yeah, Chippewa! Yeah!
Uh-oh.
It was a great community where people watched out for each other. And my experiences growing up in small-town Wisconsin shaped me into the person that I am today. Someone who values hard work, common sense, honesty, and who can tell right from wrong. Someone who watches out for people. But I've got to tell you, as a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. For justice in Wisconsin. And we won. I've spent my whole career fighting for Wisconsin as a prosecutor, a lawyer, a judge, and now a soon-to-be justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Woohoo. Chippewa. Chippewa Falls. Chippewa Falls. I have no idea. Oconomowoc is as far as I can go. In Wisconsin, because that's where I live. But anyway, congratulations to you, Wisconsin. Congratulations to women in Wisconsin. Congratulations to America. Congratulations to Western civilization. Oh, yeah. Elon Musk said that the race between Susan Crawford, the winner, and the loser, I guess his name was Brad Schimmel, who was an attorney general of the state of Wisconsin and had a record, and it wasn't very friendly towards women. It wasn't very friendly towards, most living things. No, it was not. But anyway, Elon decided that he was going to pour $20 million into that race on behalf of Mr. Schimmel and declare that the results of this election would decide the future of America and Western civilization itself. So on behalf of America and Western civilization itself, might I say, yay! Oh. Yeah, there are some really nice moments today that we have to see, ruminate, bank, own, keep in the mind, in the center, in the frontal cortex, because, we're about to go through some things in less than an hour. Yes, it's true. In less than an hour, as the stock market closes. Now, why would Donald Trump wait until the stock market closes to open his pie hole about tariffs, global ones, destroying the entire economy of the free world? Like forget Western civilization, all civilization. Why would he wait till the stock market closes? I'll let you figure that out at 4:05. I'll let you do that I'll let you see whether or not you agree that I think he waited till after the stock market closed to make this announcement. But let's just have these moments, these really good ones, because we earned them, especially you, Wisconsin. Susan Crawford earned it. Okay, the women of Wisconsin were amazeballs. I mean, this was totally like an estrogen-driven campaign she had over there. I did not realize till I was watching her, her victory speech, and she thanked all the people, and all the people were estrogen-bearing beings, at least at one point in their lives. So, But yes, it's great news for America. It's great news for Western civilization. It's great news for, not just the state of Wisconsin. She literally, according to Elon, has decided that the fate of Aristotle is secure, that the fate of Erasmus is secure. Yes, Western civilization. Dutch humanism is now safe. Part of Western civilization. George Washington Carver's peanut legacy, and I did look up the Quandra family. Very impressive for our caller in Philly yesterday. Awesome. I think I know you, though. Had this crazy idea in my head yesterday. I was cleaning the pool when I got home. Yes, I do that. I just thought, I know her. I think I do. But anyway, yes, Western civilization is now free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, it's free at last. Because Elon Musk decided he was going to spend $20 million. Oh, and didn't you love the fact that he handed out $1 million checks to individual and still lost? Because Brett and I were talking about this before the show. What did he think he was going to accomplish by writing 2 checks for $1 million to 2 people in Wisconsin? Now, I do realize that one of them was the, president of the college Republicans. So what was this guy supposed to then do? Sign a pledge that he would vote Republican? Of course he's going to vote. Or get his friends to go to I don't even know what the point of writing that check was, but it was dirty. And of course, money did not prevail. And this is a good message. This is a very, very, as far as the whole Citizens United thing, as far as pushing back on the money in politics, we owe one for Wisconsin. We owe them. Not for the 2024 election, not so much. But going forward, we owe them because, frankly, they said, money shmoney. We're just going to do what's right. This is not even right and left anymore. It's right and wrong. And what's going on here is wrong, and we're not going to vote for strong and wrong, or cheesehead and wrong, or Elon and wrong, or whatever that is, and wrong. We're not doing it. We're not having it. We're not doing it. We're not voting for it. And so now you have Circuit Court Judge Susan Crawford, the liberal candidate, in a pivotal Supreme Court race. Why? I just need you to understand what's about to come to the court. First of all, she's not going to be seated, I don't think, until August. Okay? Ahead of that, there's going to be a decision. There's going to be at least an oral argument about going back to the 1800s with the law that was triggered when the Supreme Court of the United States kicked Roe v. Wade to the states and said, hey, you decide. And states had old, ancient, crusty, musty, dusty laws that were now in effect against, women who had evolved past, let's say, living past 40. Yes, women were living long. And they were actually having children at 40 now. And this 1849 thing, so she's not going to be seated when that particular thing happens. So, but I still feel like Wisconsin will go the right way as far as giving women, autonomy. Now, you have to understand that I think that what Elon Musk was really upset about, that is coming to the court, and she will be on the court when this case comes, is unions, government unions, public employees unions in Wisconsin, okay? That case is going to the Wisconsin State Supreme Court because lower courts have already weighed in. And Elon felt this was his opportunity, as far as I could tell, to get rid of working men and women getting union salaries in the state of Wisconsin. And also the dealership thing, where the manufacturer of a car cannot own a dealership. So he lost.
all things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
It shouldn't be lost on your viewers that George Soros has poured millions of dollars in, and the Democratic governor of Illinois, the state to the south of Wisconsin, has also poured millions in. Why? Because the left wants to drive forward a radical agenda. In the state of Wisconsin, we're concerned about parental rights, school choice, voter integrity, and that is why in Wisconsin we're working so hard to get Brad Schimmel on the court.
I looked at the numbers. When it comes to George Soros, he's donated $2 million to the Wisconsin State Democratic Party this cycle. Just by comparison, you're looking at $19 million, more than $19 million for Elon Musk and affiliated groups, is why I asked specifically about that.
Oops.
She's awesome.
Don't take on Kate Baldwin before 10 o'clock in the morning. Don't do it.
Walked right into it.
I mean, they have to blame somebody on the left for Elon Musk's poor performance, wearing a cheese head and screaming and yelling about how Brad Schimmel represents the future of Western civilization. And, you know, on Truth Social, Moron Man, who is the president of the United States, was, posting, well, at least the most important vote that had to be on the Wisconsin ballot passed, and that was for voter ID. Except voter ID is already the law in Wisconsin. I know of no place really where you can vote without having to have shown voter ID, having to have shown ID that actually says you are who you are a citizen, you're eligible to vote in this district, go ahead and vote. I mean, either it happens at registration, at the motor voter portion of your, voting life, or it happens at the desk when you're checking in to cast your vote, or both places in some places. I mean, it's just sort of, but yes, voter ID is the law in Wisconsin. So what the hell was this question on the ballot about? This question on the ballot was about adding voter identification into the Wisconsin Constitution. Well, congratulations, Wisconsin. You're now redundant. Seriously. And they are trying to say, woo, we got voter ID. It was always there. Voter ID was always there. Always, always there. I mean, it's just, they're so embarrassed by their poor performance all the time that they have to either deny that they know this person, or that that person did this to them, or that it was this person's money, not that person's money, that affected the relationship or the race or this and that. Or listen, it's just, I'm so sick of them. I really, really wish they would finish destroying the government, tanking the economy, and just go already. Just go. But they're not done. They're not done, okay? Last night, did you see Cory Booker? Did anybody, catch a glimpse? Because the most ironic moment occurred yesterday at 7:18 p.m. At 7:18 p.m., Cory Booker, a black man, okay, a black senator, one of only 14 black senators, was on the floor breaking the record of a segregationist's filibuster that held the record for the longest filibuster. And I call it loosely that because he wasn't really filibustering. He was protesting, just so you understand, that there wasn't a bill that he was trying to stop or anything like that. He was protesting these policies that are tearing our country apart, that are tearing Medicare apart, Medicaid apart, SNAP benefits apart, that's tearing Social Security down, that's making, glitches in the system happen on purpose so people will just panic and just freak out and say, somebody do something. Well, what if we privatize it? Okay, I don't care. Just get me my check. This is the goal here, okay? This is what they're after. But in the end, in the long run, they want everybody to not be Elon and not be Donald Trump. And by that, what do I mean? I mean, listen, you know what I put in the homework today? I couldn't really figure out how Elon has 14 kids and by whom, and why are they all multiple births. Do you know what I mean? Like the first wife that he had, I think he got married in 2000. The first wife that he had, she gave an interview to Marie Claire, believe it or not, and that's what I put in the homework. You go, why is she putting articles from Marie Claire? Because I wanted you to see what a horrible person he really is, what a horrible father he really is, and how he is impregnating women through IVF. IVF. She had a set of twins and a set of triplets. She's got 5 of his kids. And he took her to court. He doesn't want to pay for these children. And the reason why they broke up, he found another girl. He found another girlfriend. And what's great about it is the wife with the 5, I think they're all boys, the wife with the 5 boys met the fiancé while she was married to Elon, and those two became friends. I love that because we didn't cheat on each other, but Jimmy's wife and me are sister wives. So I know how that works. That's the very French way of saying, if I loved you once, I will always love you. Love does not turn to hate. And then the second wife also IVF'd. Well, and then, Donald Trump, he's got 5 kids with 3 baby mamas. When I read Project 2025 and I see what the ultimate goal here is, it will lead to autocracy. It will lead to the ruin of democracy. It will lead to a place that is, almost ungovernable. It will lead to, oligarchy and despair among the people who aren't well connected. But it's not exactly the fascist bureaucracy that, people whose names, Elon likes to salute in weird ways, weird body language towards, and he does that when he's winning. So you can just imagine what he's doing today as he's losing. Listen, Elon, can I just tell you this? Can I just say this to you? This is a better way for you to spend your money. Buying losing candidates. Why? Because it's going to disappear anyway. Wife number 5, I think it is, or 6, or I don't even know if she's a wife. Baby mama just had the 14th child. She had to sell her Tesla because he won't support. And he's saying, well, let's take a paternity test. She's like, I told you, let's take a paternity test when I first got pregnant. Let's do it. I mean, this guy is he's so disgusting. And Donald Trump, and so it's very ironic on a lot of fronts today. One of the ironies is that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are fighting for something that Kerry and her husband, the Severinos, the Uber Catholics, who are the Heritage Foundation Project 2025 shepherds, if you may, they want the nuclear family restored. Meaning they want a country where mom's at home, dad goes to work, and if you need help with the kids because you need a second income in any way, shape, or form, grandma or Aunt Randi comes and stays with the kids. This is their wet dream of how America should operate. Don't be Elon and don't be Trump, I guess is the message. Because these people have multiple baby mamas and, Elon, I think he's an incel. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Because all these women have been artificial. Oh, and they had surrogates, too, along the way, Elon and his women, that carried children for them. The other irony is the beautiful irony. Cory Booker.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
John?
Would the senator yield for a question?
You have no timing, Chuck.
Chuck Schumer, it's the only time in my life I can tell you no.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Order. The chair does not wish to take away from this moment, but I think the best way to honor this great accomplishment to our guests in the gallery, to make a rare exception and let you stand to show your appreciation, I will not constrain my fellow senators.
Thank you. I'm Chuck Schumer. I have yielded for a question, and you asked me, did I know? I know now.
Yay. I mean, that was a beautiful thing. That was at 7:18 because Strom Thurmond in 1957, who was filibustering against civil rights in these United States, and he was lobbying he was filibustering for segregation, was beaten. He was beaten yesterday. His record was broken. The only thing that should ever be broken in Washington, but everything else is being broken in Washington by Elon Musk. Cory Booker broke the thing that should have been broken, that needed to be broken, and that was Strom Thurmond's filibuster record of 24 hours and 18 minutes. That's why at 7 o'clock and 18 minutes after, he was interrupted in a weird moment. I mean, Chuck Schumer has no timing. I gotta say. That was like the most amazingly inappropriate, awkward moment. He was just about to say something to John Lewis. He was bursting into tears, remembering John Lewis's saying of get into good trouble. Sometimes you have to get into good trouble to make things happen. And just as he was about to, there were two things I was wondering. Like, why did Chuck Schumer interrupt him at this very poignant moment? And two, was he wearing Grampers? How do you stand on the floor for 24 hours? How do you do that without having to go pee? And he was doing the pee-pee dance right there. I saw it. And I'm like in awe, because I have to go every hour. So, it's not normal what's going on with me. Not that I can get my doctor to call me back. Okay. Welcome to medicine in Florida. But I was very, very happy to see that he broke that record, because that was something that needed to be broken, okay? And he wasn't done. He wasn't done. He went for another 45 minutes. I think he did 25 hours. I forget how many minutes, but 25 hours.
But I know who does have the power. The people of the United States of America. The power of the people is greater than the people in power. It is time to heed the words of the man I began this whole thing with, John Lewis. I beg folks to take his example of his early days, where he made himself determined to show his love for his country at a time the country didn't love him, to love this country so much, to be such a patriot that he endured beatings savagely on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, at lunch counters, on freedom rides. He said he had to do something. He would not normalize a moment like this. He would not just go along with business as usual. He wouldn't know how to solve it. But there's one thing that he would do that I hope we all can do, that I think I did a little bit of tonight. He said for us to go out and cause some good trouble, necessary trouble, to redeem the soul of our nation. I want you to redeem the dream. When our founder said we must mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong.
Yay.
Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
Beautiful. Really stunning. History making. Incredible. The record that needed to be broken. The only thing that in Washington that really needed to be broken. Strom Thurmond's record. Even Strom came around. I don't know how many people understand that Strom Thurmond came around. He stopped being like, a segregationist after, the 60s and everything. And I don't know if he did it because he realized his quest was futile or because he realized his quest was immoral, decrepit, evil, ugly, a decaying philosophy that needed to die and be put into the dustbin of history. And now Donald Trump wants to reach into that dustbin and resurrect those ashes of a burned out way of life. The idea that they are going for segregation and that everything that's happening in front of our face now is all to make Donald Trump, how this is so weird. I read a very earth-changing, life-changing, mind-changing article today, which is very rare. It's very rare that somebody would write something like this. But it was written by David Graham, who wrote an entire book, apparently, about this that I haven't read. He is, wait for it, an author in, who does he write for? Who? That's right, The Atlantic. One of my favorite magazines, the one that Donald Trump hates the most, turned out to be one of my faves. Okay, really, it's right up there. It's been up there with, when Vander Heuvel was running the nation. I was up there, with Mother Jones in the day, back in the day. So The Atlantic. So David Graham is an author, and he wrote this. It's not that long. 7-page article. It's in the homework. It's the top goal of Project 2025. And he's telling us that their top goal is still to come. And the top goal is not just dismantling the federal bureaucracy. It's not just sealing the border. It's not just securing our God-given individual rights to live freely if you are a white man. Seriously. But it's also to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life. That means a lot of families in American life are going to have to be broken.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
What Cory Booker did over the last 24 hours may have changed the course of political history. I watched a lot of it. I listened to words. I listened to phrases, how he presents himself. Did he criticize Donald Trump? Of course he did. But he struck the kind of tone that grassroots Democrats are looking for. He gave them a reason to fight. He gave them a reason to stand up and say, this is my country too. Of course, every Republican watching will say, this is nonsense. But he's not speaking just to Republicans. He's speaking to Americans. And what I saw over the last 25 hours absolutely blew me away. And just as you sometimes make projections or predictions, I'm going to do one right here. That speech puts Cory Booker as one of the leaders for the Democratic Party, 2028, and I'll go even further. If you ask Democratic senators right now who they'd rather have lead them over the next 3 years, they would choose Cory Booker over Chuck Schumer. That's how significant today was.
Yeah, that's Frank Luntz, the Republican pollster, also, a guy who monitors language and, has recommended words that the Republican candidates should be using so that they can appear strong and wrong, apparently. This is what people vote for in this country, strong and wrong. So, yes, what Cory Booker did yesterday is an amazing accomplishment. Whether or not it changes the game of who is and who isn't electable, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because you are going to see the Democrats do what the Democrats do, which is why I'm an independent, okay? The Democrats do what the Democrats do. And what the Democrats do is they say to themselves, who's next in line? And 9 times out of 10, that's the person that gets to run, or that's the person that gets to at least be on the stage for the Democratic debates, right? I'm sure, that Cory Booker is auditioning for something. I don't know if it's Senate leadership because that is so far down the road. Senate leadership. I mean, you would have to win the Senate. You would have to win the Senate first, right? That's the way you become the majority leader, is you have a majority in the Senate. And right now, I don't know. But if we did get the majority of the Senate, I think that there would be a fight for who's the Senate majority leader. And quite frankly, it's so premature. I don't even know if I want to go there. But it would be, at this point, I'm thinking that, Cory Booker is a candidate for, majority leader, should that happen. But I also think Chris Murphy would like to be majority leader, and he's fabulous. And you want to know something? Chris Murphy sat there in the gallery supporting Cory Booker the entire 25 hours that Cory Booker was there. Now, that is what you want to see in a party. That's what we need more than anything as a country. We don't need infighting in this party and infighting in that party and having, the top guy be your parent. But see, this is what I'm getting at. Donald Trump is running this game on Americans, and it seems autocratic because in the end it will end up being an oligarchy run by friends and family of, the dear leader. I mean, that is really where this is going. But did you ever wonder, why maggots, especially the girls, call Donald Trump daddy? Well, reading this article, by David Graham, and there's a couple of things that are real important in the homework today about understanding the name, what this is, what we're going through here. It has a name. And, it's like when you have something, I don't know, something unhealthy, right? To have a name for it is very soothing because then you know what to do about it. And I feel like the same thing is true of politics, to understand what Donald Trump is trying to do. Calling it fascism, it seems like a bridge too far, even though people are being disappeared in this country and really grotesque things are happening where the president is ignoring court orders and the Constitution doesn't seem to be holding, and people are just being picked up off the streets for tattoos and judged and adjudicated by, lunatics like Stephen Miller and deported out of this country to countries they're not from, to go into, I don't even want to call them correctional facilities because they're not trying to correct anybody. They're trying to torture people. They're trying to, run a gulag for money, for profit. In third world, Central American backwoods banana republics. So, yeah, that's happening. That's on. That's a thing. But this segment of it, this march towards Gomorrah, this horrible end result that will occur if he succeeds, has a middle portion to it. It's not the last place that this would go, but it is the next place that we're likely to be led by this group of miscreants. And it's called, it's a patriarchal, it's the Barbie movie. It's the patriarchy, okay? It really is that. But it's more than that. It's a way of governing where Donald Trump is the daddy of America. He is he's not a founding father, which has always creeped me out that we had founding fathers. Well, he's not a founding father. He's the father of fascism. He's the father of autocracy. He's the father of the oligarchy, okay? Where his friends, and that's why they won't break with him, because they know where this is going as much as everybody that will, pay attention knows where this is going, and it's not to a good place. But they know in the interim, in the meantime, that only the friends of Donald Trump are going to be treated well. If you're Donald Trump's friend, he'll treat you well. If you're not Donald Trump's friend, he will get you. He will punish you. He will carve you out of his life. I mean, it's like being part of a really bad family, because that is what this is modeled on. This is modeled on a very dysfunctional family where the head of the family is a daddy figure, and he's a very bad father. He's a terrible, abusive, nasty father. And in the process of, doing this, in the process of making Donald Trump the daddy, They have to break the bureaucracy. Now, see, that's conflicting for me. This has always been, the part of it that is a little confusing, because when you have fascism, now just think about this for a brief moment. When you have a real fascist regime, the reason why it's a regime is because the bureaucracy has been taken over with the fascist ideology. Here you don't really have that. Here what you have is the dismantling of the bureaucracy. Here what you have is getting rid of Health and Human Services, getting rid of the Department of Agriculture, getting rid of the Department of Education, not making the Department of Education into a Christian nationalism, but literally getting rid of it and handing it to others to decide what education is in their state. So that's not fascism, is it? Because fascism is the one way to think. It's the one way to live. It's the one way to be. And if you don't live that way, and if you won't be that way, your neighbors will rat you out for an extra food stamp. See what I mean? But if you got rid of food stamps, that it's a different approach. So the entry is different than the way that, the guy that whose name I'm flirting with in my brain right now did it. What they do have in common is they both do it through, Hitler did what he did through constitutional means. He had a terrorist attack on the Reichstag. He told everybody it was done by a terrorist. To this day, nobody knows who started that fire. I mean, some people think they know. But he said it was a terrorist attack and that you needed a strong government and that he was going to take over Congress because Congress was too slow in addressing the terrorist problem, and he needed to bypass them. And that's how he did it, okay? So he was chancellor. He was elected. He was in a German constitutionally elected, position, and then he took apart the government. He took it apart and he made it answerable to him. But he had the police organized. He had prisons organized. He had concentration camps. But the first people that were put in concentration camps were the people that wouldn't go along with his plot, with his scheme, with his plan. Right now, what we have is a South African lunatic who runs around this globe, using IVF to impregnate women 14 different times, who has surrogates have his children, who literally, is only attached to one of those 14 kids. I mean, he's just a strange individual who has a lot of money. And the best thing that we could do for ourselves is to make the Cybertruck the new Yugo, right? And to make, what Elon has worthless, which is what you want to do all the time to autocrats.
Clear.
Mary had a little man. False. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Keep the faith. This is going to be a disaster.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Given the fact we don't actually know what all the tariffs are going to look like. However, how much could these tariffs cost Americans?
The annual tariff costs per household, they estimated, get this, Phil, between $1,600 and $2,000. That's about 2% of the median household income. I mean, my God, if you're going paycheck to paycheck, as we talk about 25 to 30% of households do live paycheck to paycheck, that is a huge jump. And where do we see those costs really hitting? Well, I'll give you a few different examples, all right? Computers, up 11% potentially. Wow. How about natural gas? Up 5% potentially. Wow. How about white rice? Up 4% potentially. And so we just see it throughout different parts of the economy, the American consumer getting hit potentially by these Trump tariffs on top of the inflation we've already seen. It is no wonder why my opening slide said the American consumer is fed up. They have just been hit over and over again over the last 5 years. And truthfully, there's not much of an end in sight, especially with these tariffs potentially on the way.
All right, so we're waiting for him to appear in the Rose Garden in his orange, clown face makeup to announce to the world what he is going to do with regard to tariffs, now we've heard people on his team like Peter Navarro say things like tariffs are tax breaks, tariffs are jobs, tariffs are make America great again. I don't know why he talks in bumper stickers. I have no earthly idea why he's our trade advisor in the first place, or why Stephen Witkoff is our commerce secretary when every single Republican in Washington, D.C. despises him because of what they are about to do to our economy. Now, the only thing that I can see that is, common when you look at autocrats or dictators or fascists taking over entire countries is the market, the economy crashed or crashes. You know that the Weimar Republic failed so miserably to pay off the war debt after World War I because it said, well, we'll just print money. We'll just print money. And so hyperinflation ensued in Germany. Of course, hyperinflation means that the Deutschmark was worth less and less and less, and that it took a wheelbarrow full of Deutschmarks to buy a loaf of bread. Hyperinflation. I don't know how hyper it's going to be, but this inflation that we're about to see on top of the inflation that we've just saw almost tamed down to a 2% inflationary year over year increase through some really hard work over the last 4 years. It's about to take off again, inflation. I don't know how hyper it's going to get, but if you read around some of the economic, treaties, or you read around some of the economists' predictions, or even the Wall Street Journal, or any right-wing or left-wing economists, they all seem to agree. Isn't that stunning? The left and the right agree. And what they agree on is that wrong is wrong and right is right. And wrong is tariffs, worldwide tariffs. No one ever wins a trade war, and Donald Trump is going to be no exception, and that prices are going to go up for everything around the world, everything. They also agree that the dollar, the value of it, is going to tank. It already has gone in that direction. And I'm telling you, if they can crash the dollar as the currency, the reserve currency of the world, crypto has a shot. A made-up monetary system with nothing to back it that exists only in the ether, designed to enrich the already enriched, designed to enrich Peter Thiel and Elon Musk as their other fortunes dwindle, because what have they done except buy their own businesses and sell their own businesses and, nothing of value, nothing at all. Like I said, the Cybertruck is probably Elon Musk's Pinto, okay? The thing catches fire just like the Pinto. The thing is ugly just like the Pinto. Don't you say the Pinto. I had one of those. I understand. I'm sorry for you, but I understand. So there's a new grift, and that seems to be it. And I don't know. I can't really explain to you why Donald Trump is going to break the back of the economy, except for the fact that he will then offer to be your daddy. He will offer you his friendship. He will. And in exchange for being his friend, meaning you rat out your neighbors, you rat out people that are not living the Project 2025 nuclear family lifestyle, and you will get an extra food stamp. And you better get that food stamp, because they have just cut the Department of Agriculture that provides lunch to hungry kids. They have just screwed up the entire agriculture system in the United States of America. I don't know why the farmers go for this again. I don't know why, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. The farmers got fooled again and again with this guy. I mean, it's pretty amazeballs. But, you better hope that he's generous to you and your family, because there ain't no place to go anymore to get a bag of potatoes like there was during COVID. There are no food, what do they call them? Food banks. They're not getting deliveries because Donald Trump canceled the deliveries because the food banks got government money. They got government grants to buy the farmers' food. That thing's over. That's done. You see what I'm saying? It's a daddy culture. This is what it does have a name. It's a long name. It's called patrimonialism. Patrimonialism. It's a patriarchy on steroids is what it is. It's where Donald Trump is the dad. It's not just the nuclear family where the man is the head of the family and the woman is subservient and they just have the babies and they stay at home and they give up their careers if they ever had any hope of having one. They don't anymore. Whatever. It's worse. It's worse. It's not just not just the household. It's in the government. There's a daddy at the top of the government. And he's going to decide if you're family or if you're foe. And he's going to make the call on who gets to eat and who does not. Now, that sounds really pretty brutal, but that's kind of what this is. It will wreck the democracy, and it will freeze up your spell check at the same time. It's, it's the middle ground to outright kleptocracy. It's the middle ground to outright oligarchy. It's the middle ground to fascism, okay? It is. It's the middle ground to where they want to go. But it's the next step. It's the next step. And weirdly, it can't be described as that thing that Donald Trump does. Because Donald Trump isn't a daddy to all his kids, only the ones he likes. Elon Musk isn't a daddy to all his kids, just the one. Just the one he likes, the little 4-year-old, X. The set of triplets, you never heard of them. The multiple sets of twins that there are, you never heard of them. You may have heard of one of his daughters who's trans that he has disowned, but they don't even take care of their own brood in a proper and although I will say Donald Trump's family understands not to get on the wrong side of him. Like the one that he doesn't even pay attention to, what's her face? The one he had with Marla. At least she had to marry somebody that was a good businessman. He was a foreigner, but he was a good businessman. And he's ingratiated himself. So maybe she's a little more acceptable now than she was before. Ozempic.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, here he goes. All I could tell you is he's already announced a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. I don't know if you know what that is. It's the parts to. There is no such thing as an American-made car, okay? Just none. So 25% tariff on automobiles.
The first online. They run a very strong country, but they're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression. And it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable. But
we are.
We're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay, and then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer.
Okay, he's making this up, just so you know.
And we're going to take care of our people first, and I'm sorry to say that.
That's golf applause.
And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first.
Oh, my God.
In sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, it was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting text on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had it checked 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries.
I can't. You know why? Because none of it's true. That's the shameful part of it. Okay, Biden did not cause a manufacturing downturn. In fact, the Infrastructure Act and the other big bill. What was the other big bill he did? These things actually increased the amount of manufacturing jobs in the United States. Biden was building these massive battery factories, chips factories. That was it, the CHIPS Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act also invested in manufacturing, in science, in chips, in the whole thing. He is lying, He's just lying. And the reason why he's lying is because what he's about to do is going to decimate our economy. It's going to decimate our purchasing power, the prices of things on the shelves in supermarkets. Cars are going to go. The average cost of a car, what is it now? Like $50,000, I think they say. That's a lot. But the average cost of a car is $50,000. With his tariffs on these cars, not only does the cost of the car go up 25%, but think about this, the cost of the parts, they also go up 25%. So if you have a used car and you need repairs on your used car, the cost of the repair is going to go up 25% because the cost of the part goes up 25%. And if you're one of those that has insurance, for car repairs, let's just say, that actually produces a payment for your repairs, lucky you, then the cost of your insurance goes up 25%. Why? Because the insurance has to cover the increased cost of the replacement parts to fix your car that you contracted with them to fix. Car insurance goes up. Car repairs go up. Cars go up. And that's just one sector. That's just one little portion of the economy that he's denounced, okay? Oh, here's his chart. Here we go. I hope this is what I think it is.
Bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing.
Oh, my
Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge.
Oh, that's a lie, too.
European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see.
Oh, my God.
It's so pathetic.
Okay, these are our allies. You understand what he's doing? Do you remember Brexit, where everybody in the European Union was talked into going off on their own, and it didn't work out at all for anybody? He's trying to Brexit us from the world. Make America alone again. These are our allies. Well, not China, but the European Union he's talking about. Oh.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Those 401k people who are depending, those retirees, all of that, just talking plain speak with them. Look, when this nation used to go to war, people in this country would support the war effort with their materials at home and making things for weaponry and all of that. We got to do 100% buy-in over this bumpy period. Just communicate.
Oh, my God. So there's Fox News already telling you retirees just, bite the bullet. Make the sacrifice. Sacrifice for daddy. Sacrifice for Donald Trump. Sacrifice for, Donald Trump's vision of a tariffed world. Sacrifice. And all of you 401k people, she actually says that. All you 401k retired people, she actually says that. You need to take the sacrifice. You need to take it on the chin. You need to do without. As if people who are retired are living, crazy, fun, White Lotus life. Going to Thailand. Staying at 5-star hotels. Well, a little less, spending. She is insane. And the cost of everything that comes into this country now, through the roof. Wouldn't it make sense? Let's just say you buy into his theory that tariffs are what made America great in the first place, even though tariffs are what led to the Great Depression. Smoot-Hawley, everybody, go watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Go watch it. Oh, my God. Ben Stein, it should be all over the TV with this. The Smoot-Hawley tariff plan is what literally doubled down on the Depression. It literally sped it up and fed it like a beast. I mean, this man just makes crap up. He just does because he wants to crash the economy. He just does. But he's saying 34% tariffs on China, 20% on the EU, 24% on Japan, 26% on India. You understand? Vietnam, what did he have? Like 97% tariff? Cambodia, he had a 97%. And you might say, well, we don't really import anything from Vietnam. Oh, come on. Look at your pants. Look at your T-shirt. Look at your equipment, okay? Your equipment comes from Vietnam. Mechanical equipment comes from Vietnam. This is so crazy. So if you wanted to make that stuff here, if this was the goal, why would you then say what Biden did to invest in the United States with the Chips and Science Act, with the Inflation Reduction Act investments, And with the infrastructure bills investments, why would you cancel all of that investment, all of that building, all of that manufacturing capacity that was being built into the United States ahead of tariffing the imports? Don't you think that's a little ass backwards? Build the factories and then do the tariffs. Not do the tariffs and then hope that the factories will get built when you've just tariffed aluminum and wood, lumber, and concrete imports from Canada. How does that make sense to anybody? Well, it doesn't, but that's why he lies. He lies so people can repeat the lie. People can tell me he's investing in America by putting these tariffs up. No, if he was investing in America, it would look like Biden's plan. If he was actually putting America first, which is what Biden's plan did, and why did Biden have to have a manufacturing plan for America? Why did Biden actually invest in chips and science? Why did he invest in building chip factories, manufacturing here at home? Why did Biden invest in infrastructure? Why did Biden invest in the Inflation Reduction Act that made investments into American manufacturing? Why did he do that? Why? Because if you'll remember, right before COVID, not during and not after, because Biden had it all after. Before COVID, it was Trump's economy. And before COVID, we had 2 quarters of negative growth in manufacturing under Donald Trump. It was a manufacturing recession. It had already happened under Donald Trump. I kept on trying to shine the light on it so everybody would understand where we were headed with him versus with Biden. And that was pre-COVID. So he can't blame it on COVID. He froze in the face of COVID. There's no doubt about it. And now he's actually disinvesting the United States, literally sending hundreds of thousands of people home from the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, from the Health and Human Services. I mean, he has hired the worst people in the world to shut down the agencies that they have been put at the head of. He's literally hollowing us out. And anything with Biden's name on it, he has destroyed. He has wrecked it. Wrecked him. Nearly killed him. Yeah. Honestly, I'm so serious about what this is, and you should get very serious about what this is, because these tariffs are you're gonna pay them if you can afford to buy the items that are gonna increase in price. Things are gonna go through the roof. I mean, I don't even understand. I don't think we have any, except for Alaska. I don't think we have any. Well, that's not shellfish, is it? No, crabs. Yeah, those are shellfish. But I think when you go to the grocery store, every single, shrimp in the store, every single one is from the Philippines or from Indonesia or from Asia somewhere. Everything's imported, everything. You like a cashew, huh? Cashews, guess where they come from? Over there. Yeah, they come from over there. Avocados, where do they come from? Over there. They come from Mexico. I was reading an article a couple days ago about how Chipotle, not that I have ever imbibed. You like it?
I actually do enjoy Chipotle, yeah.
Fine. I have no experience with it because I cook. You know that. Every single freaking day of my life I cook. So I know the price of every single ingredient, every single thing I buy. I could tell you because I made you a lemon meringue pie for your birthday.
Greatest thing you have made me since
ever.
I've known you. Period.
But I could tell you
Amazing.
a lemon was 89 cents. I could tell you that because I just bought 2 of them. That's what goes into a lemon meringue pie. Anyway, everything is going to get more expensive. Every single thing is going to get more expensive. So even if you can afford to play, even if you can afford to participate in this crazy thing he just set up, because, they're all going to retaliate. Every single one of these countries are going to retaliate against us. And he's doing it against our allies, Mexico, Canada. He's the guy who wrote the trade agreement. that is in place right now. It's called the USMCA. He invoked NAFTA, okay? NAFTA isn't our trade agreement anymore. It's the USMCA. That's what is the trade agreement that's in place. And it's his. It's his. And when he signed it and passed it, he said it was the greatest trade agreement ever in the history of mankind. And now he's telling you it was garbage. It was garbage. The worst ever. It was his.
Fatality. This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
25% tariffs coming for cars and basically all cars, since it also applies to car parts. What is this going to mean? What's your analysis on what people need to be preparing for?
Well, Kate, it means higher prices and it means fewer jobs. I mean, on the higher price side, a lot of moving parts here, a lot of uncertainty. But I think if the tariffs are imposed as articulated and stay in place, by this time next year, the typical car price will be somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 more. So, right now the average car price is $50K. So that means you're going to be paying $55K to $60K as a result of the tariffs.
Oh my God!
And then I do expect that it's going to cost jobs. You'll see retaliation. You just heard the Canadians talk about this. Other countries will respond, no doubt. And that means U.S. manufacturers are going to have trouble selling what they produce to those countries, and it'll cost jobs. And you don't really need to go too far back to see this. If you go back to President Trump's first term and look at what happened with manufacturing activity, jobs, and prices,
yes,
the tariffs resulted in the kind of damage that I'm talking about. So, and here we're talking about much higher tariffs. So I'd buckle in. I think this means higher prices and fewer jobs.
Donald Trump, the president, says that this is being done to protect American manufacturers, to save American workers. The UAW president, Sean Fain, applauded the decision, saying it's a step in the direction to end the free trade disaster, is how he put it. What are the chances this does not negatively affect American consumers?
I just don't see it. I really don't. If you just put yourself in the position of a CEO of a major global manufacturer, and you're looking at this and you're thinking, should I build a vehicle factory in the United States? And by the way, Kate, to build a factory takes years. You can't build it for next month, next quarter. This is something that takes 2, 3, 4 years. And then you're building it to last for years after that, maybe even decades. And what's the tariff going to be tomorrow? What's the tariff going to be 6 months from now? What's the tariff going to be a year from now? What's the tariff going to be 5 years from now? Because all this is done under executive order. It's not in legislation. This can be changed in a stroke of a pen. So that CEO is going to say, I'm not going to invest. I'm just going to sit on my hands. So I just don't see it. I'm confused by it.
Oh, that's the chief economist at Moody's, Mark Zandi, saying, I just don't see how this makes us prosper. I don't see how anything gets built, because this man is mercurial, to say the least. He changes his mind day to day. CEOs who need to build a factory here to avoid his freaking tariffs, they're not going to do that. This isn't in legislation. This isn't, real policy. This is Donald Trump waking up in the morning and picking a number out of the air and saying, I'm going to put a 97% tax on Vietnam. This is, he threatened to do this before, then he changed his mind, then he said it'll be April 2nd, then, he'll say, okay, everybody come to me, and this is a new game in town, okay? This is it. This is what's going on right this freaking second, right now. Phones are ringing, and what are they doing? Lobbyists are calling anybody in the Commerce Department who will take the call. Any connection that you might have in the Senate, any connection you might have in the House, especially on commerce committees. And you're saying, my client, fill in the blank, would like a waiver. What does it cost? How many fundraisers do we have to have? How much of a donation are you looking for us to get together? You want us to give $100 million, to a PAC? Tell us which PAC, and we'll start fundraising right now. We'll start raising the money for you. We need a waiver. We need a waiver or we can't stay in business. That's the new grift. That's what this is about. And also, it's to tank the economy. It's a 2-for-1. It's a Stephen Miller wet dream. It's a Witkoff wet dream. It's this destruction, this wholesale destruction of the world, is the burn it down theory that people said would actually occur if you gave Donald Trump his head, if you gave Donald Trump the reins, if you gave Donald Trump the power to do crap like this. This is the crap he would do. And he's done it. He's done it. 34% tax on China. Almost every single thing you're wearing, everything comes from there. And unless he's trying to switch places where they become the marketplace that you sell through to, and we become the people with the safety nets outside our warehouse windows, our manufacturing windows, so that when we decide we can't live like this anymore and we want to jump out, we're caught by the net. That's how it is at Foxconn. That's how it is over there. I mean, this is just, listen, everybody knew that, he was going to do it. But now that it's done, oh, my God, the stock market's going to open tomorrow, and I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I guess the waivered people's companies will be okay, and the unwaivered companies will not be okay. Again, go see Daddy. Go talk to Daddy and tell Daddy what you're going to bring home for him. And he'll let you know if you could have a waiver from these import taxes, from these tariffs. But meanwhile, it's a race to the bottom. It just is. If you wanted to do this, why wouldn't you build the factory first? Just saying. Barry in Washington.
Hi, Randy.
Yep.
Nice to talk to you. I know I'm being very idealistic here, and I'll probably get into trouble if I try this, but here goes. Tax time is rolling around, and considering that the Trump-Musk administration or regime is slashing everything, Medicare, Social Security, Department of Education, EPA, FAA, and on down the line, I feel like we have a legitimate excuse to refuse to pay our taxes. After all, we are talking taxation without representation.
Well, that's what D.C. has, and they still pay their taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the extent of how you really thought this through, haven't you, Barry?
A bit. I mean, I probably will, file my forms and all that. But, what are we getting back for our taxes now?
Pretty much more taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Steve in California. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Randy.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, I was driving down one of my main streets here in
you what?
West Sacramento.
I'm sorry?
I said I was driving down one of my main streets here in West Sacramento, and I happened to come upon a Tesla. And when I got a little bit closer, I noticed this little red circle on the back of the vehicle, and it had a red circle with Elon crossed out. I'm going, oh, that's nice. And he was driving a Tesla.
Are you in like a command center or something?
No.
Then why is all this noise interfering with your phone call to me?
Because I got your show on.
You got my show on. Didn't somebody tell you not to do that?
Yeah.
Then why did you defy? Why did you defy? Do you understand what this is doing to my brain here? Do you understand what it's doing to everyone who's listening to this?
I'm sorry about that.
Horrible.
Okay. Another thing is I didn't understand why I got a little pop-up on my phone, and it was Elon Musk's daughter saying her dad is dog shit.
All right, great. And then he curses on top of it.
And I told him don't curse on air. Make sure.
Wait a minute. Do we even have delay?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
I just got him. I just hit him. Yes. I just dumped him.
I don't know. I think that made it.
I just dumped him. We got 10 seconds delay, but I did tell him, don't be on speaker. He's on speaker. Don't have the show on in the background. He had the show on the background, and I said, please don't cuss on air. And he cussed on air. That's 3 for 3. I'm kind of impressed.
And he was holding on since like the first segment.
Which is why I could understand the speaker. It's tough to hold your phone right up there. I get that a little bit, but the other two, no excuse.
All right, then. What a great day. Like I said at the beginning of the show, there was some spectacular moments to be had today. They were Cory Booker's spectacular moments, and they were Susan Crawford, the new justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court moments. You know, the beauty of it is we have an election in a year. I don't know how many of us are going to make it to the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see. All right, everybody. So now we know. We know we're actually going to go through what he would say are some things. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.